Welcome to the Burnout, where we help teachers and education professionals recharge their purpose, revise their passion, and regain their power. The show where we tackle the problems in education, one solution at a time. I'm your host, Kendria Johnson, and we look forward to helping you beat the burnout. Hello, and welcome to our first virtual event this summer. I am your host, Kendria Johnson. But before I get into who I am, I would like to know who's in my audience. If you would please, in the chat box, let me know if you're a teacher, or maybe a principal, or head of faculty, dean, anything that has to do with education. Let us know what you do. And then after that, I want you to tell me how many years you've been doing it. If you're a teacher, let me know what you teach and how many years you've been teaching that in the chat. I'll wait for you. Finish my song while we wait. All right, good. There's a live audience here. Perfect. Good, we got some teachers in there. Got some people from Dubai. Excellent. Wonderful. Okay, good. So now that I know who my audience is, and I know, and you know a little bit about me. This program is for anyone who is feeling burnout. Okay, so let's start with a question. Put a yes in the chat, or if you can, if you have that mechanism here, just raise your hand or put a yes in the chat. If you love what you do, and you want to make a difference. Put that in the chat for you. Put a yes in the chat. Yes, I love what I do, Kendra. I love what I do. Good. Okay? Put another yes in the chat. If you love what you do and you want to make a difference, but you don't want to sacrifice your personal time. Right? So you love what you do and you want to make a difference, but you don't want to sacrifice any of your personal time or your life, your mental health, emotional health, none of that. Right? Put a yes in the chat. Good. I have a lively audience already. Good job. Thank you. So, teachers, educators, if this is where you are, maybe you're like me. Maybe you love what you do, but sometimes you're exhausted. You're just tired. You're going through the motions and you're just tired. You don't have enough energy left at the end of the day because teaching takes a lot out of you. Or perhaps you're like a robot. You're going through the motions. Teaching is not what it used to be for you anymore. You've lost that passion and that fire that you once had. Potentially, you're thinking of a career change. You're thinking, Kendra, I don't think I can take another year. I don't know how many more years of teaching I have left in me. I'm exhausted. Possibly, you've hit a brick wall. And then that wall, you don't know if you're going to get around it, how to get through it, or over it. So if you are here, where do you want to be? Do you remember when you first fell in love with teaching? When you could not wait to get to school every day and teach those new minds something that they would not have learned if you were not there. You were excited to get to work and share knowledge. The creativity, the innovation that came through you was just like magic. You were proud to tell people, I am an English teacher. I am a math teacher, or I teach English. And your invisible cape would fly through the wind because you were a superhero and teaching was your superpower. Imagine every year was like that. Visualize it. Every day you have that feeling that teaching is not something that you have to do, but teaching is something that you get to do. Here's what I know. Teaching is a very giving profession. We're always giving. We're pouring out all this knowledge, this essence of who we are into young minds every day. I want you to think about that. We're pouring. So what happens if our vessels become empty? You can't pour from an empty cup. So think about it. Every year, you're excited about what you do. You can't wait to get back. Yes, there's problems. Yes, there's things that go wrong. And yes, the problems of education are out there. But what if you had the tools to fix it? What if you had the tools to cope? How do we get there? How do we get from, Kendra, I don't know if I can take it another year, to, you know what, I like what I do. I'm gonna get back there next year. I'm gonna show them what I can do. How do we get there? You see, I believe that teachers, all teachers, deserve a mentor or coach. That, yes, we have mentor programs out there for new teachers, but the statistics don't lie. 40% of new teachers are quitting in the first 5 years. They're walking off the job. Something's happening. And I've seen the numbers. Over 80% of all major school districts, that means the school systems like we have here, have a mentor or shadow teacher program for new teachers. But something's happening between year 1 and year 5 that's making them walk off the job. And what about the people who are left? What about me? Why is this important to me? It's important because I have been teaching over 20 years. What happens when I hit that brick wall? What happens when I can't find a way to make it through, or around, or over? With teaching, time becomes very important, okay? Here's what I mean. When you love what you do, time goes really fast. It goes really fast. It's like you don't have enough hours in the day, right? But when you don't like it, when you're not fulfilled in your job, when you're not fulfilled, what's happening? Time slows down. One second. I think it's off. Okay? So what's happening? Where are we? How did we get here? Why is this important? I'm going to give you some numbers. Now, statistics are important. They are important. They do matter. But numbers don't always paint a good picture. But the numbers that I saw, and I read several publications. I've read dissertations, and I've read Education Weekly and NEA, which is National Education Association. And they say that right now there are 22 million teachers needed worldwide. Worldwide. That means there's 22 million classrooms without a qualified, enthusiastic, innovative teacher in their classroom, not teaching those kids. That's important because what does that mean for the future of education? What does that mean for the job that we're already doing? Right? In 10 years, that same article says we're going to need 60 million because of the population growth and the students that are being born right now. What does that mean? If we're already in the hole 22 million and we're going to need 3 times that much in 10 years, we're losing qualified individuals. We're losing people with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of ideas on how to teach children. I've been a mentor for 13 years. I've seen this trend on the eye level. See, there's high level and then there's eye level. That means I'm looking at it from the ground up. Now, if you're an administrator or a superintendent or a principal, then you're looking at it from a high level. That means you can't keep good qualified teachers in the classroom. They're here one day, gone the next. So, why now? Why now is the time for us, because we're coming through a pandemic. We're still not out of it, but we're still coming through this pandemic. Now is the time for us to really consider how much time we do spending our time on this earth doing. This is important because you don't want to be that teacher. You don't want to be in a situation where time is going slower. When you like what you do, time moves fast. When you don't like it, it seems to stand still. And if I were you, if you're like me, I don't want to waste my time doing something that doesn't give me purpose, that doesn't give me passion, that doesn't give me a fulfillment. Now, before I move on, let's talk about the word fulfilled. Now, we all have one, and that one is that backpack. We all got a backpack. Even as teachers, we have issues that we have to bring to school, that we bring with us to school. And in that backpack, we have things like being overworked, stress. We have our own families we have to deal with. We have anxiety about what we do. We're afraid of those dreaded test scores. We're afraid about our evaluations. We all carry the weight of that in our backpacks every single day. It's invisible, but it's there. It's there. Everybody's backpack is different. Some might be heavier than others, some might be lighter. But there is definitely, most definitely, 100%, something that we're carrying to our jobs every day. My job with this program is to make you feel fulfilled, full of potential, full of purpose, and to fill you with passion. Let's talk about it. Now, why is this important to me? Why me? Why me? Why is this important to me? I'll tell you a little bit of story. Come with me. It's spring 2001, and I am working in a cubicle. Have you ever seen a cubicle? They're boring, okay? Working in a cubicle is the equivalent of working into a box. It's the equivalent of working in a box. It must be what the rat feels like in a maze, going around, around, around. They're boring. You see that? It's boring. There's no pizzazz. There's no decoration on the wall, and there I am working in this cubicle. But I like my cubicle. I don't like my job, but I like my cubicle because then I'm determined to stay in it. Why? Because there's this voice that keeps bothering me. There's this voice. It's breathing down my neck. I don't hear it every day. It doesn't come every day. However, it does bother me because it keeps telling me the same thing over and over and over. It kind of sounds like Darth Vader. And this voice is telling me on my shoulder, I want you to teach my children. Then another voice pops up. That's this one on this shoulder. That voice is saying, girl, don't listen to him. Do not listen to him. You do not want to be a teacher. She's right. I don't. But that voice is consistent. I've been hearing it for the last 6 years. It keeps saying the same thing. I want you to teach my children. And then she says, nope. You know what happened last time. You used to do this and you did not like it. And she's right. So what you don't know is that 6 years ago when I was in high school, at this particular time, I was a student teacher. So I wasn't the main teacher, but I was a helper. And we had 3-year-olds. 3-year-olds. If you ever had a 3-year-old or you've been a 3-year-old, 3-year-olds are sticky, they're short, they talk, they cry a lot, they whine, they put on you, and they eat boogers. I did not enjoy this experience. I did not. I was like, when I get out of this, when I was done with that, I was like, I will never teach children again. I shook my fist and I said, I will never teach children. I will never be a teacher. But yet, I still keep hearing the voice. But I promised myself, nope. I am never going to teach children. Right? So I continue to work and work and work and work. Now it's September 2001. Something happened. Everybody remembers in America where they were on that day when the towers fell. I'm at work, about to go to my cubicle, when my boss calls me in the office and says, all right, Miss Kendra, Miss Johnson, we're not going to be able to renew your contract, okay? We're moving, as you know, we're moving the company to another city, and we're not going to be able to have your contract here. We're not going to renew that contract over there. So this will be your last day. We're going to pay you for this week and next week, but this is going to be your last day. Same time, 8 o'clock in the morning, I just get to work. At the exact same time this is happening to me, this is happening on the news. And so the whole group of people are glued to the television. I don't even have time to feel sorry for myself. I don't have time to be angry. I don't have time to be resentful. I don't have time to any of it because this is happening in the world. So I go home that day. And I'm extremely depressed. And you would think I would be depressed about losing my job. I didn't really like it anyway. I didn't really like it anyway. I didn't like the cubicle. I didn't like the whole setting. But I was more depressed about what do I do with my life? What does this mean? What does this tragedy mean? I have a daughter. How do I explain this kind of evil to her? How can I make a difference? How can I be something where I'm making a difference in the world? I stay in my bed for 2 weeks. I don't know what to do. The voices have stopped. I'd like to actually hear this voice or this voice tell me what to do. But you know what? I kind of knew what I was supposed to do. I kind of knew. So I volunteered at my local daycare. They had KG through 4th grade. I volunteered. They made me a substitute. And a month later, I had my own classroom. I was teaching 4th grade language arts and writing. And you know what? I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was excited every day to get to school. I could not wait to teach those babies something new that they would not have learned if it wasn't for me. I was more creative, and I had passion. I was on fire for what I was doing. I enjoyed my life. I didn't get paid a lot, but that didn't matter to me because I had purpose. I had so much purpose and I had so much passion that I went and took my teacher's license. Went back to school, took a class, took my teacher's license so I could teach in public school. Now, public school, private school, different. The kids are different. The parents are different. The money is different, but the problems were different. So I work, I do my very best. I basically overwork myself and I do all of these great things, but I'm doing all this great work. And year after year after year, I'm working. I'm working and working and working. About year 10 into my official public school career, I started to feel it. I started to feel like I was hitting a brick wall. My body started to tell me that I was stressed. I wasn't getting the proper amount of sleep. I had the jitters a lot. Literally, I had the jitters. It's probably from drinking too many sodas, too much caffeine in my system. Because caffeine was the way we got up, and so because caffeine is the thing that got us through the day, right? I started having these mysterious illnesses that would come and go. My last year teaching in the public school system, I went to the doctor's office, the emergency room, 6 times. I was experiencing the symptoms of burnout. I was tired all the time, and I was working long hours. I would go to work at dark, and then I'd come home in the dark because I was teaching and coaching and tutoring after school. So how many of you know it's very difficult to work at this pace? Put something in the chat for me. How many of you have ever felt like, have been in a relationship, let's say, been in a relationship and everything's going great. When you first get together, it's wonderful. You're in love, you just love everything about this person. But after a few years, you start to see the red flags. You forget about it, you didn't see it at first, and now you're starting to see, oh, okay, you look crazy. You look crazy, okay. You start to see it. Put something in the chat that says you understand yes, or 1 or 2, yeah. Yeah, but just go ahead and put a yes, that's fine, I can see it. Excellent, that's, I have an active audience, good. Thank you for participating. So if you were like me, this is the relationship that I started to have with teaching. I loved it, but then I was like, oh, is this what I gotta do every day? I started to question my purpose. I started to lose some of that passion after year 10 and 11. Years 12, 13, and 14 were the absolute worst years of my teaching career. Those were the years I questioned it. Did I make the right choice? Maybe this is all I need to do. Maybe I've done everything I need to do and it's time for me to go. So I made some drastic decisions because I was completely out of juice. Completely just burned out. I made some decisions. And there's a lot of things that happened between what I did and what I thought about doing and what I actually did, which was to get on a plane and come to the Middle East. Because I had to give teaching another shot. I was about to give up. So I was like, if I can go to another place, start over, and give teaching another chance, I know I can do it. Now, you're waiting for me to say, well, Kendra got better then. After when you got here, everything was great. Nope, that was year 14. No. Same problems followed me. I was still not being able to sleep. I was still having anxiety about going to school. I was still being frustrated with the way things were being run and everything that was going on around me. And that's when I remembered, and that's when I knew that it wasn't the job. It wasn't the location of the job. It was me. I had to change. Yes, I was fed up. I had added up to here. But the change had to start from within. Because changing countries, you would think that'd be better. The one thing I can say that made a difference for me coming here was that I had this thing called TIME. I had more time to myself. I wasn't working those long hours. Wasn't coming in on the weekend. I wasn't putting in extracurricular activities. I wasn't the head of this, in charge of that. I was just a teacher. And when I got home at 2 o'clock in the evening, I had time to think about where I wanted my life to go and what I wanted to do with my life. Finally, the thing that made the difference was I asked for help. I actually asked for help. I hired, when I got here, a psychiatrist because I knew she could prescribe something for me for my depression and my anxiety. I also called a mentor, someone who had been in this environment before, someone I agreed with, we can work together. And I would call her once a week and say, okay, what am I doing wrong? Okay, help me with this. I don't understand this culture part. Can you help me? I need to understand the culture here. Can you help me with my kids? And I had a life coach, someone I trusted back home who could help coach me, get me out of this rut. And that made all the difference. That is when things in my world started to change. I made a list. My goals started to look different. My outlook became different. My mindset started to change. And I said, I'm going to make a list of the goals that I want to achieve here. First one was write a book. Check, did it. Second one was discover me again. Get back into me. Do some meditation and some yoga so I can get in tune with who I am. Check, check. Then, wanted to travel. That's what that picture means. I wanted to travel the world. I had 8 places that I wanted to go. I did all of them. Check, 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 check. And last, I wanted to start a business. I wanted to start a business where I help people do exactly what I've been doing for the last, 12, 13 years, which was mentoring. And make sure that, teachers who go through what I go through don't have to go through what I go through. Or if they're already in it, I help them get out. So that's a little bit about